Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Nonstop Talking with your girl here, Vivian Liu. Today I am filming my 2019 favorite read slash favorite books. So these are books that I read in 2019 and I've narrowed it down to the top 15, which was extremely difficult because shockingly I read a lot this year. So because I talk so much, I'm going to hurry up and first talk about the honorable mentions and then start counting down my 15. The honorable mentions are in no particular order. I just alphabetized them, and the first one is A Midsummer's Equation by Keigo Higashino. According to Goodreads, this is the 6th book in the Detective Galileo series. Only 3 of them have been translated into English. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. Honestly, I really like Keigo Higashino's books and writing. I don't consider this the strongest of the ones I've read in the series, but I definitely enjoyed it. Next in the honorable mentions is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. Hopefully I said that right. I gave this a 5 out of 5. I thought it was such a touching and moving and solid debut novel. The next book in my honorable mentions is Imago. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm saying it like in a Japanese way. Imago. But yeah. It's the first book in a duology. I haven't finished the second, or I haven't started the second, so I don't know how I feel about this duology yet, but I really love this first book and I gave it a 5 out of 5. It's by N.R. Walker. Next honorable mention is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. I gave this 4 out of 5. Honestly, that ending still kind of haunts me. Like it was really good. And my final honorable mention is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, which I gave a 4 out of 5. I really liked this. I related to the main character a lot and I was really shocked because I read this after Leah and the Offbeat and I didn't like Leah and the Offbeat, so I was a little bit worried about The Upside of Unrequited, but then it ended up surprising me. Now we head on to the main event, which is me counting down my top 15 books. So at number 15 we have His Revenge Baby. This book is part of the 50 Loving States. It takes place in Washington, and the author is Theodora Taylor. I gave this 4.8 out of 5. Brief synopsis. I don't know if I can properly explain this dramatic and messy book, but pretty much the main girl, Liliana, is coerced into interviewing for the mistress position of this Japanese billionaire, Norio, and honestly, first comes love, then comes betrayal, followed by revenge, and just a lot of soap opera craziness. With that synopsis, you have to understand that this book entertained me like no other. I got such a kick from it, even though it was completely nuts. But because of that, like, I knew I had to, at the end of the year, give it a spot in my top list. It literally starts with Liliana interviewing naked for the mistress position at Norio's like top skyscraper office, and if that doesn't intrigue you, then this book is not for you, but it was totally for me. Number 14 is The Rosie Project, which is the first book in the Don Tillman Now trilogy by, I probably won't be able to say this name either, so I'm just gonna spell it Graeme, last name Simsion, and I rated this book 4 out of 5. In short, this book is about a genetics professor, Don Tillman, who decides to use his intellect to find a spouse, and he titles it The Wife Project. Meanwhile, Rosie is trying to locate her biological father and crosses paths with Professor Tillman, and Rosie kind of checks all the no boxes on his Wife Project. This duology, when it was originally a duology, I had the duology set. Well, it's been sitting on my like shelf for a while now, and I decided finally earlier this year to pick it up, and I ended up really enjoying it. Like, I was really shocked by how much I liked it. And so even though the second book was slightly disappointing, so I'm not jumping to read the third book yet, I'll get to it soon, I still like have happy memories of the first book. Number 13 is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5. Told in poetry, this is about Ziamora, who is a daughter of immigrant parents living in a low-income area, and she uses writing as like a way to cope with life struggles and gets into slam poetry and is actually quite talented at it. I heard a lot of things about The Poet X, but I still didn't really know what to expect, and it wasn't until after I finished the audiobook that I was quite blown away by it. Honestly, I think like I started slowing down the speed just so I could savor the words and its beauty. So I really enjoyed my experience with The Poet X. Number 12 is Autobiography by Christina Lauren, which I gave a 4.5 out of 5. Oh, that's high. This book is about Tanner, who is bisexual, living in Utah, and he takes a creative writing class where he meets, I guess, the teacher's aide, the writing mentor, who is an alumni and took the class last year and ended up writing a novel that got published. Anyways, his name is Sebastian, and he's Mormon, and you can see where the problems would arise from there. I have a complicated relationship with Christina Lauren. I either love their books a ton or I dislike their books with a passion. Luckily, this is the former. I think the religious aspects was done really well. There were some things about the relationship, bits and pieces here and there, that I was a little bit iffy about. But overall, I really enjoyed the story and I thought it was very touching. Plus, I thought the title was really clever, and I read this while I was like traveling, and it like is associated with those happy travel feeling. Number 11 is Deck, which is part of the Fake Boyfriend series. It's the third book, written by Eden Finley. I gave this a 4.1 out of 5. So the book is about Ollie, who is a not out gay, or not completely out gay, hockey player. He like stumbles into, crosses paths with Leon in like a restroom, and asks him to be like his fake boyfriend at his family dinner. And Leon is actually a sports journalist. I read the first 4 books of the Fake Boyfriend series this year, and I ended up just really loving the author's writing style and her characters, and this book that became my favorite book of the series. My second favorite is the first book, which is Fake Out. But yeah, there's just something about the couple in this third book that I just found sweet, charming, and adorable. I love the relationship. It's so cute, and yeah, highly recommend. Number 10 is Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which I gave a 4.5 out of 5. This is a retelling of Patroclus and Achilles set with the background of the Battle of Troy. I read Circe earlier this year and loved it, and that's why I decided to pick up the Song of Achilles, and I ended up loving it more. Since I decided to limit myself 1 book per series, I'm also going to limit myself 1 book per author on this list, and that's why only the Song of Achilles is on here. But there's just something about this like slow burn relationship that I really enjoyed, and that's why it's on this list. The writing is stunning, and there's just something about the writing style that got me really invested in the stories and characters, even though I'm not someone who's interested in mythology, and I was really surprised by that. Number 9 is The Risk, which is the second book in the Briar U series, which is the spin-off series for Off Campus, and the author is Elle Kennedy. I gave The Risk a 4.5 out of 5. So this book is about the daughter of Briar Yu's head hockey coach. And obviously she like can't be caught dead with anyone from the rival Harvard team, especially not Jake Connolly, who is their star forward. But she needs him to pretend to be her fake boyfriend. Wow, I realized like I must really like the fake dating trope because it's been showing up. I've said this many times and I'll still continue to say this. I think Elle Kennedy is the queen of NA sports romance, and The Risk really delivers in terms of attraction and chemistry, and I was just so into it and the relationship and the couple. Number 8 is Saga Volume 1, which is by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I gave this a 5 out of 5. In short, it's about two different species from two warring planets, the Horns and the Wings. They fall in love, have a baby, and are on the run, visiting different planets and universes. It's really cool. I love the concept. I actually started this and have already caught up, and I'm just waiting for more right now. And I decided to pick volume 1 for this list because it is what started my love and now obsession with it. I actually like have merch from this graphic novel series. So yeah, I'm a fan. Number 7 is The Lightning Thief, which is the first book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series, written by Rick Riordan. I gave this first book a 4.5 out of 5. Shockingly, I have never read this series before, and I like completely regretted that I didn't read it when I was younger because it's so much fun and I think young me would have really enjoyed it. But the story is about Percy Jackson, who is a half-blood, meaning that he is half human and half god. His father is Poseidon, and for his safety he is sent off to Camp Half-Blood, and from there he has to go on a quest. And honestly, it was just super fun. I love the simple titles. I think it just adds character or like a cute quality to the story. I don't know. I love the characters. I love the quest, and yeah, it was super entertaining. Number 6 is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, which I gave a 4.5 out of 5. It's about Alex, whose mother is president of the United States, making him the first son. He kind of gets into an argument with Prince Henry while he was in the UK. So just to like maintain the UK-US relations, Alex and Prince Henry have to pretend to be fake friends and put their rivalry aside. Okay, I will admit there is starting a pattern here with this like fake friends, fake dating, fake. I guess that's like my trope. I think like it goes a little bit too much with the politics, but other than that, this was such a gem of a debut novel. I love the relationship, I love the friendship, and I love the hopeful US that it shows, and my heart is warm because of this book. Number 5 is Dear Girls, I don't remember the full title, Intimate Tales, Untold Secrets, and Advice for Living Your Best Life by Ali Wong. I gave this a 5 out of 5. I listened to it as an audiobook and it's amazing. So Ali Wong is a famous comedian, and this is her memoir that she writes as letters to her 2 daughters, and I didn't know that I would find this so relatable, so relatable, and it's super funny. Highly recommend. One of the best autobiographies I read this year, or I listened to this year. But yeah, it's just really well narrated. Number 4 is My Brother's Husband, Volume 1 and 2 by Gengoro Tagame, which I gave both volumes 5 out of 5. I know this is a little bit cheating because I said only 1 per series, but there is a 2-volume bind up for this that hasn't been released, but I would have given it a 5 out of 5 nonetheless. So there, I'm talking about the unreleased 2-volume bind-up and not the 2 volumes separately. So let's first talk about the story. Living in Japan, Yachi is one day visited by his twin brother's widow named Mike, who is from Canada. So for this, I like the art, I like the Japanese setting, I like the relationship, and just, I don't know, there's just something about it that's very modern day and real and touching. And after I finished it, I was recommending it to everyone that I knew who likes reading manga. But yeah, there's just this earnest honesty about it, which I found really fantastic. And if you read manga, please pick this up, because I know it's not all that popular, but Goodreads randomly recommended it to me, so good job, Goodreads. Number 3 is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I gave a 4.8 out of 5. So this book is written in an interview style format, and it follows the band Daisy Jones and the Six during their rise of stardom in the 70s, which is pretty much known as the time period of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I thought the audiobook was superb. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was on my favorites list last year, so once again, Taylor Jenkins Reid, 2 for 2. I don't know, there's just something about her stories, her characters that feel so real even though they're fictional, and I love it. And yeah, this one, so many of my emotions were toyed with, and respect. Number 2 is Wolf's Song, which is the first book in the Green Creek series, and it's written by TJ Klune. I gave this book a 4.8 out of 5. This story is a little bit complicated, but in short, it follows Ox, who meets a shapeshifter when he's 16, and his life just kind of changes from there. Yeah, honestly, I don't think I can explain it any better, but I read the first 3 books in this series this year, and each one destroyed me emotionally, and my heart is just bleeding for all these characters. But since I'm only allowed to pick one book, I would have to say that the first one is my favorite. Seriously, this entire series is amazing, and I can't even express how it just affected me so much emotionally. So if you want to have your heart broken, give the series a try, and it's worth it too. Alright, so we are at number 1. Number 1 is We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson, which I gave obviously a 5 out of 5. It's about Henry, who periodically gets abducted by aliens, and they're telling him that the world is ending, but he can save it if he presses this red button. But Henry isn't sure that he wants to save the world. I know that this book isn't super high on other people's lists, or isn't super high in general, but I think something happened with me in this book, in the sense that I just read it at a time where I related too much to the main character, and I think because of that, it will forever hold a special place in my heart. Oh, just Henry. Oh, this is the second Henry on this list. But yeah, I don't know, it just touched me, it moved me, it just affected me emotionally, and I feel like I repeat that a lot, and I guess that's what makes any book a favorite, supposedly. And this one is just number 1 this year. I recommended it to 2 friends to read it, and they still haven't. I'm looking at you, Shidoka and Pat Pat. But yeah, I love it, and I think I read it pretty early on in the year, and after I finished it, I was like, it's gonna be on the top for sure. I think this book just came to me at a time when I I don't know, just like a really good time when I felt like me and Henry, or me and the main character, we just vibed so much. And that's that for my top 15 favorite books of 2019 which I read. Comment down below what was your favorite book that you read this year. And outro time. Like, comment, subscribe. See you in my next video whenever that is. Bye.